Can you hear the intro when it plays?
No.
No, it's just coming through mine. Oh, okay, sure. Huh. Yeah, well, I'm looking at maybe June 1st probably.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, I can just come down. I could see Luna as well. And
Yeah,
she said she can always put me up in her studio if I need it.
Hey, there you go. That might work well too then.
Or I could just, I don't know, fucking stay up all night and come home or whatever. I'll figure it out.
Just all kinds of things here. All kinds of things.
Yeah. Well, hey, dude, we are on the interwebs.
Are we on some series of tubes?
Well, the tubes.
Right on, right on. Well, welcome to Critters in Taiwan, a D&D podcast about Critical Role, where a bunch of nerdy-ass voice actors sit around and play Dungeons and Dragons. I'm Ben and Gaoshan.
I'm Tim and Taijo.
And we are Critters in Taiwan.
Yep.
Yeah, man. How about that? We're back.
What? Oh, that's right. It has been a couple of weeks, hasn't it?
No, we were back last week. It just feels that way because yeah. Wait, when was our last one?
No, we didn't have last week, right?
No,
because they didn't have an episode.
You're right.
Yeah, but then the one before that was kind of like a half episode for us, so that's why it feels like
to use the parlance of the time. Time is soup.
Time is soup. That's what the kids are saying these days.
That's what the kids are saying these days.
It's not chowder anymore. It's soup.
I just realized also we have a 4-sided dive tomorrow. I was just looking at my through the Reddits. There's a 4-sided dive tomorrow and the third Daggerheart update.
Oh man, I still haven't gotten through the first one. I was confused when they were on the 4-sided dive previous. They were talking about the menagerie. Yeah, I assumed the coast. So I'm sitting there and they're like these questions like who in the menagerie would get along with like Bell's Hells or something like that, and I'm sitting there not understanding shit that they're talking about.
Because that was the menagerie was the one shot. That's what they called themselves at the end of it. I think they named themselves the protectors of that realm, the menagerie.
Yeah, and they're like non-human.
They're all beasts, all of them. There's a Galapo, which is the tortoise. That's the
tortle, yeah.
Tortle, and then there's a fungirl and a ribbit and a simia and a giant and what was it? The beetle. He was like a fey beetle.
Huh.
Travis was a fey beetle, and who else was there? I don't remember.
Huh.
Yeah,
but yeah, I heard it was a terrific episode. I mean, from you mostly.
Oh, I loved it. It was great fun. Yeah. But again, like it's the whole thing about open betas, is that they're constantly changing the rules. So it's just fun to watch. There's no point in learning those rules because they're changing them. They changed some things in the first. They switched up the hope and the fear things, or they refined the hope and fear stuff into the first update. Who knows what they're going to do in the second update? So yeah, they're just going to keep changing things until they land on something that sticks.
Yeah, it's nice. I hope they're getting some good feedback. Yeah. What are you gasping about?
No, I was thinking of something completely different. It reminded me, like, Spencer Stark is the creator or one of the co-creators of this, right? He's the creator of Candela Obscura. And I was just thinking about in the announcements, they said they're doing a live show but it's Candela Obscura live show. I was thinking it was a Daggerheart live show, but no, it's not.
Man,
sorry, my brain is quite scattered if you can't tell.
Yeah, there's lots of stuff going on, and we're not going to talk about it.
I just spent the past hour building drones with kids, so I'm all over the place.
That sounds pretty fun.
It was super fun. It's so much fun. It's week 2 of it. So I got these little on Shopee. Shopee's amazing. You get these little drone DIY kits, and it's just a 3D jigsaw puzzle. You pop out all the pieces, and you put it all together, and you assemble. The electronics are all already done, so you just assemble them all. And it's like they're for kids, so it's super fun and creative, and it's all they get to play. So today we fully completed them, went to turn them on, and they all lit up, they all turned on, and power down. No, the batteries weren't charged.
Right,
like of course they weren't. But luckily it was the end of class, so I'm like, okay, next week we fly them.
Yeah, there you go.
So yeah,
it extends your lesson for another week.
Absolutely.
That's the whole purpose of like the purpose. I have a science club for first graders. It's like, what kind of science are you going to do unless it's like a demo showing them something? Yeah. I've got 21 first grade students. Oof. And it's just chaos. That's all it is.
It's herding cats.
Yeah, so I try to give it. You can only calm them down with a video because first graders, even the naughty pieces of shit ones, they'll just be like. That's the only control that happens in there.
Mr.
And I have an assistant.
Pink Panther. What are we watching today?
And if that's all we do, they go home happy, saying Science Club was fun.
Exactly.
So we try to do something, and it's just chaos for 40 minutes.
The things we do as teachers, eh?
Yeah.
If only the parents knew.
And it's not worth the pay bump. It's not. I would gladly just toss that shit aside and just go to practice earlier.
I hear you. Yeah, hey, let's talk about Critical Role.
Shall we? Yeah.
Episode number 93. Bittersweet reunions.
On the nose. They're just on the nose.
Always.
Directly on the nose. I saw what you did there.
Yeah. I'm doing that Liam O'Brien thing where he's.
When does he do that? What kind of tell is this?
All the time. He wrinkles his nose and makes little funny nose grimaces all the time.
Is it a Liam thing or is this
it's a Liam thing.
Oh, okay.
No.
I don't think I ever noticed it.
It might be more of an Orem thing because I've noticed it. But I don't know.
I was gonna say with all work no play. I don't think I ever saw him do it, but I think that was pretty heavily edited. At least the video versions of it. Huh. Yeah. So with this episode, kind of similar to the last episode, frankly, half of it didn't really give a shit.
Yeah. I'm going to completely agree with you there. The first half of it, again, they did the awkward, okay, as Matt says, I'm going to stand up, and Abria comes in, and then everyone shoos, and then all the crown keepers come in.
Yeah.
So it's like 3 hours, 10 minutes of the crown keepers, which we've said, again, yay.
Don't really care.
I just want to say, at the end of all of it, I did enjoy parts of it. To be totally honest, I didn't watch most of it. I skipped through a lot, caught some beats. I'm like, oh, I missed something. I need to go. Okay, I went back and caught that. Then skipped right ahead to the very end and watched the last 5-10 minutes of it or so.
I think a good 15 minutes of the very end of it would catch you up on basically on anything.
Exactly. Which begs the question: why did they do it in the first place?
Those theories are flying, right? Viewership is falling and try some new shit and maybe bring this back. I mean, did EXU have that much of a thing to bring it back and have something different? Because I really think it had the opposite effect.
I'm just going to say, this is the most railroady Critical Role has ever been.
It's one of my first rollies.
Sorry, dude.
No. That's never an apologize. No.
But it's true. It's so true. This was this was planned. It was executed poorly. They pulled the audience was not ready for this. It was handled awkwardly, the whole transition. Then it was handled even more awkwardly. They barely land the ending at barely land the landing at the break, and it's just it was unnecessary because. Just completely unnecessary. It was all as scripted as Critical Role ever is going to be. This is exactly what was supposed to happen. Yeah. There was no surprise. There was no nothing. It was the only real surprise for me was that she only killed an NPC. That's the only surprise for me.
And
it's not even that big of a surprise because she's too kind. I think she said it at the end. She's like, "That's a skill issue." I'm like, that's the first genuine true thing you've said all this whole show,
and also perhaps one that maybe you should leave out because I mean she came right off the hop, to steal a term from you. She was like, welcome to the finale of this, and I was like, oh shit. She's like, and she's had said before, I'm gonna kill all y'all, if I want to, and none of it happened. Now, I didn't... Okay, so, full disclosure, I did the same thing you did. I skipped forward probably, 10 minutes at a time to see if there was any... And watch for about a minute and be like, okay. And I just did that for the whole first half. Until I got to the point where, Matthew came back at the very end of the first half, right?
Yes.
So as soon as I saw him back at the table, I was like, okay, go back 20 minutes.
Right.
And then see if I hear something that I might need to hear. And I heard something that was different, so I went back another 30 minutes. And I was like, okay, fuck this. Like, next time I listen to this, I'm just going to put the, this is what I did. I sat on my couch, turned on Wolong on my PS5, started playing the game, push play, set the speed to 1.5 times, and just let it play while I was playing a video game. So I wasn't involved, but I did hear any big noises and any big things, and I think I got the gist of it.
Yeah, of course. I'm just going to say, at the risk of sounding like a grumpy old man and a hater that doesn't want to watch other people other than Matt Mercer DM, it has nothing to do with that. It has everything to do with, it's not my style. Number one, if you didn't watch EXU, the EXU or EXU Prime,
before
the EXU whatever,
before campaign 3.
If you didn't watch Kymel, if you didn't watch the first EXU, and then you didn't watch Kymel, you'd have no clue what was going on, who these characters are.
Right, I didn't think about that.
What purpose they all have in this. You'd have no clue what's going on. And you'd be totally
There was
lost.
no catch-up. There was nothing.
Nothing.
I didn't think about that.
You're just like, they're just like straight in. I was thinking about, I had written this down before and I never said it. That's why I'm saying it now.
Oh.
And it reminded me, again, when they just jumped into it, like, what about people that are just jumping in? They have no clue what's going on.
Yeah.
Number two.
That's a big point, dude.
Cheers. Abria's DMing style is at such a contrast to Matt's, where she's like, no, I'm DM. I do whatever I want to do here. My rule is law, and that's 100% fine.
Totally fine.
But Critical Role doesn't. The table doesn't play that way. Yeah. So it's such a jarring transition from the normal style of play that it's like it's like, I think at one point Robbie asked for clarification about what would it actually be? What's the ruling on that? And Abria's like, I don't care. It's my table. I do whatever the fuck I want. And I'm like, okay, that's cool. But when a player is asking for the ruling, and you're a fucking multi-million-dollar corporation that is like has hundreds of thousands, millions of people paying money to watch this, you owe it to the viewers, not just the players at the table. That shit's all good and fine. In fact, I completely approve of that at a home table or a weekly table or whatever table you're playing at, but not this one.
Big fan.
That's out of bounds. It really is. My money. I pay. I have a subscription. I'm paying for this shit. So you can say caveat emptor all you want, but at the same time, I also have a right to complain about it.
Mm-hmm. Yes, you absolutely have a right to you absolutely have a right to complain about it. Also, something that we subscribe to is their creative freedom. Right.
Agreed.
In this case, we both happen to disagree with the direction that they took it. Now, I didn't I don't know if I can say that because maybe that's not true. I didn't watch the second half of the last episode, and I watched the first half of this because I knew it was coming back, so I didn't want to miss any transitions. Right. So what I wanted to also say, unless you wanted to shoehorn something in right there.
Nope, go ahead.
Okay. Was what happened during that whole thing that we both kind of skipped through. Cyrus died because of some kind of like blackmail situation. Like he was in some other place, and they're like, okay, well now he's dead.
Yeah, well, it was an interpretation by the DM of how a spell works, which is not raw. And in fact, there's a lot of controversy about this as well, because it's like Robbie or Dorian cast a spell and then it ends up doing something different because the DM rules differently. And it's like, okay, but if Robbie had known that, then he wouldn't have done it because Dorian would know that the spell doesn't work that way.
Right.
And that would then mean that the consequences wouldn't happen that way. So without getting too deep into the weeds today, it's exactly what I was just saying about the DM style not jiving with what the players and the audience, vis-a-vis the audience, kind of are expecting.
Right.
And that's, again, totally fine, but it's not right. It's slightly wrong in many ways. So it's like you can do those things as a DM and be an adversarial DM, and it's totally good. But when you're railroading and then you start manipulating players' choices, there's a big case to be made that Abria took a lot of player agency away from most of that table at times. It's to create the narrative that she wanted to create, the ending. So it's awkward on awkward on awkward, and it just becomes unwatchable at a point.
Yeah. I had something I wanted to put in there.
I'm gonna keep doing this, by the way.
I know. It's just, with the tiniest little time delay, it's it's a little bit hard to to interject. So I don't like to call it interrupting because it like interjecting. But then we end up talking over each other for like a second, and that's just not good for casting. Well, I could say okay. Well, like if Abria is trying to be adversarial, she really has to go balls deep on it because she's not. You know, if she's gonna come up front with a threat like I'm gonna kill y'all, and then everybody survives, come on, dude. Like,
well,
you gotta stick to something. You know,
absolutely. When I use the word adversarial, what I really mean is manipulating the players into doing things, and then changing the result or the effect of the cause. So you've altered the cause, and then you've manipulated the cause, and then altered the effect blatantly. Throwing out damage, asking for rolls that don't exist, ignoring the results of the rolls completely in favor of your own narrative. Like it felt like there was some of the things just the DC didn't matter. It's just a roll anyway, and regardless of what the players roll, it's going to happen anyway. It felt. I'm stealing all your thunder. Sorry.
No. That's not what this means. I don't think that we need to roll for this. I'm just going to go into this comment here.
One thing that I will say, and it's negative. It's not a positive thing.
Brace yourselves.
But it has consequences. It is of import. Is the way that Abria handles gods versus how Matt handles gods, and to put not to put too fine of a point on it, but these are Matt's gods. He more or less created them out of WotC, out of the wizards, their pantheon. Hazel, I know, calm down. Cat's freaking out here. She just wants some attention.
Who are you talking to?
Yeah, the Matt has taken the pantheon, and then given them personalities and traits and voices and all those things. And that's fine. Abria doesn't have to do the voices, but the personalities matter. And the fact that Loth, one of the most evil, chaotic, sadistic, violent of all the gods in the pantheon, she is known. This is like canon that she is a sick, twisted, evil goddess. And Abria treated her like a petulant teenager, and let Opal, her champion,
in response to Opal. That's the part that fucking bothers the shit out of me.
Same, man, same. It was. I'm like, that's not the right way. And then Melora handled the same way, and then the Raven Queen. There wasn't much there, but still handled the same way.
Matron.
And Abria has said numerous times that she interprets the gods' responses. I know, yeah, you can hear her. Yeah. Abria has said multiple times that the way she interprets the gods' reactions is their voices, their personalities as a response to the character's personality. So Opal being like a little bubblegum princess, that's how the god will respond to them in kind. And then Morrigan the same, and then Furai the same. And I'm like, but that's all fine and grand for another table, but not for this one. It doesn't jive. It's just it's like round hole square peg. It just doesn't work.
It feels like a cop out as well. No offense, Abria, but like she's letting the player completely govern where this conversation is going to go, the mood of it and everything. So it's like, if you have this energy, then I'm going to respond with that energy. So whatever you have, I'm just going to respond that way. Hey there, Hazel. Yeah, and the thing is, Amy is also kind of like a bubblegum queen, you know? So that's how she's not really playing a character. She's just kind of doing herself. And I came up with an analogy
Jesus
earlier.
Christ, calm down.
Don't remember exactly what it was. Table tennis, ping pong, where it's like you're playing with somebody who doesn't really understand the game, but they want to try it anyway. It's like, okay, so that's kind of where Amy is sitting. She's at the table, doesn't really understand it, but she's going to try to win somehow. That's like sitting there with the ping pong ball and like directing your attention over there and then throwing it on the other side of the table and being like, hit your side, that's a point, and be like, that's not how.
Right.
Like you don't understand the game. We shouldn't be playing.
Right, and the like the big problem with that kind of attitude at the table too is, I've played with players like that, and it's totally fine. A couple of the players they don't watch this, it doesn't matter. The players that play Curse of Strahd game when they first started, to their credit, they're a lot better now. But when they first started, they'd never played before, and they had no clue what was going on and no clue how to play it. And I'm totally patient. We'll get through this. Okay, yeah, you want to try that? Well, this is how we'll do that mechanic. And then they get it when the dice don't go in their favor, because that's how I play the game, is that the dice tell the story.
Yeah, that's how you learn.
That's how you learn. When the dice don't go in their favor, they get a little pouty about it because they don't really understand that you can't do everything. You're not a superhero yet. You're only level 3, so you're not quite out there yet, and you can't do it. You want to try, but the dice say you can't. Mm-hmm. And then it's like, well, you don't really understand that because you're kind of expecting the game to be slightly different, but then you learn from that. And that's what a home game is all about, because you have hours and hours and weeks and weeks and months and years and years.
Let me jump in there real quick. Go. That was one thing when I first played a tabletop game with dice. It was Heroes, not D&D. Mm-hmm. Or like they were like, what do you want to do? And I'm like, shouldn't I roll the die first to see if I actually get to do it? And they're like, no. You say what you want to do, and then the dice tell you whether or not.
Dice tell you if you can do it or not.
Yeah.
Right.
So like
how well you can do it.
And whatever you roll, that's how well you succeed or fail at the thing. So I'm like, well, then I don't know what I want to do because I don't know what I'm gonna get yet. And they're like, yeah, that's the game, dude.
Right. That's the game.
And that was so hard for me to understand. So after that first game, I was like, so I do this first? No, wait, hold on. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But hey, that's what home games are for. Yep. That's
I think the thing that Amy really doesn't understand is that for this situation, you have to listen to what the DM is saying and go with that.
100%, you have to listen to them. You have
to leave your narrative, your preconceptions away off the table. They don't belong there. You have to kind of be like, okay, well, I guess the thing I wanted to do isn't going to work, so I'm going to have to go this way then. And you give a little to get a little. It's you get along to go along.
Yeah, the cast interrupts Matt sometimes, but every time they do, it's a damn good fucking reason.
Right.
And I trust them at that table. It's like if somebody interrupts Matthew in character or whatever, I do trust everybody at that table that it's for a fucking good reason. When Amy interrupts Abria, I know that Abria is going to listen to it and play her game instead of her. It's like, dude, you're a god. Yeah. Stop dealing with this bullshit. Yeah. And I don't have patience for it, man.
And then to play off of that, the other problem with the whole thing is that this was combat, but Abria's style very much is. And when you watch Dimension 20 and you watch what was the big one that they just did? The Fey Realm one. I don't remember the name of it, for Flowers and Rainbows or something like that. Whatever it was called. It was great. I only watched bits and pieces of it, and it's highly edited, so it's really produced, and so it's chopped all over the place. It's not free flow.
Oh, okay.
But it's still very, very good. It's quite excellent. But her style is that combat is role playing. It's like you intersperse the two together. And again, that's a great style in that setting, but it doesn't work with this table. It's too much of a contrast for the way this table, Critical Role specifically, the way they play it. Yeah. And I'm a Critical Role audience, not the other audience. Mm-hmm. Most people are. And you can say what you want. Oh, well, you can learn to adjust and you can watch other things. I'm like, yeah, I can. But there's no warning on this. There's no catch up on this. I didn't watch Kymel, so I don't know what's going on. I don't know who these players are and what they've done. It's all a lot of, come on, you don't have time to watch everything. No, I don't have time to watch everything, and it's uninteresting because of that.
Yeah, and also to get used to it, like, no, it's just a half an episode and then another half an episode. Yeah, it's 3 hours each, but and then it's gone. Rough. So I don't need to get used to it.
It's rough. I mean, it's also really, again, like we've talked about this one a lot. Fern's Stonky ring that she's got, the ring of Stonky's ring, the ring of telekinesis, way overpowered item for that level of a player, for just period. Bria made 3 fucking champions. 3 champions. Yeah. She made Opal the champion of Loth. She made Morrigan, the champion of the Raven Queen, and Fururai, the champion of Melora, what's her name? The
Melora,
Wild Mother.
the Wild Mother, yeah.
Yeah.
And
like,
the Raven Queen, what are they calling her? The Dust Mother?
Dusk Maven.
Dusk Maven, that's right.
Yeah. It's like, what are you doing here? Why is there 3 champions coming out of the Crown Keepers? That's insanity.
Yeah, from this tiny little group? Come on.
Yeah.
And they're not that impressive, let's face it.
No. I mean, they are level 13, which is, in all honesty, those teen levels are where champions are. So I get that. Like, Pervon was the first champion of the Raven Queen, and he was only like level 8 or something.
He was like 8 in the EXU Calamity.
Right.
He was
and so it's
8.
like, okay, I get it. Like that. Okay, Hazel, I'm gonna kick you out of here in a minute if you can't cut it out. Calm yourself down. There you go. Good girl.
It's a good thing she understands English. Well, hey, man, let's talk a little bit about this railroading then, okay?
Okay. So, okay, that's it. You're out. Get out of here. She just bit me because I wasn't touching. Yeah, go hit. Now she's on the scratching post taking out all of her aggression.
Motherfucker. All right, so I think...
Violent. Cats are violent, man.
Man, I mean, they're testy. They're violent.
I swear to God, if they were bigger, they'd eat us.
Oh, sure. I mean, you think of the thing, like if things were human-sized, what would rule the earth? Yeah.
Everything would eat us.
Yeah. So let's talk about this railroading.
Yeah,
so I'm gonna so the first part, of course. All right. So it goes back to the theories of like, okay, viewership is a little bit down, so we have to do something kind of wild here. So like, okay, maybe a death in the party or something like that, So that happened in that one episode, and then now that FCG is gone, I'm just gonna blast through whatever is right there. FCG is gone. They don't have a proper healer in the group. So then it's like, what is Sam just going to come right back as somebody else, like right away? And that kind of takes away from like the loss of FCG if Sam just comes right back in the next episode, or whatever. So yeah, the logical thing that we talked about is that like, well, Dorian has healing properties, or healing skills. So that makes sense that he would come in. It would be weird if he came in as like some other character right away. Okay, and then there's when Orem sends the message, that's when everybody left the table. How much did Matthew say, like saying like, if this is railroaded, like, Orem, you need to contact Dorian, that's all I'm going to say? Or did he say, we need to contact them because we got something big planned? I don't know. And then also, I thought, let me ramble for a bit. I thought that maybe they had to do the other thing to see if Dorian was alive. I would maybe prefer it if Dorian had died, right? And he came and like, there's no response. And that's the transition. You don't get a response. That's it. It doesn't find a target. And then they don't know what the fuck happens. I would have preferred that outcome, frankly.
Great outcome.
Because it's deep, it's heavy.
Yeah.
And they're getting into heavy shit. So then also, when Dorian was coming back, when Matthew was back at the table, how much did he tell Dorian? Robbie. Like, your number one thing is to find Orem and the group. Is that all he said? Or did he say, I'm going to say this, and when I say this, you have to say this because we need this to happen? Like, how much did Matthew actually put in there, or how much did they really put together? What do you think?
100% scripted.
Like, because like if I'm sitting at your table and you say, hey, by the way, anything I say, you have to, your number one, doesn't matter how tired you are, what kind of cake is being made, your number one fucking priority is find Orem. That's it. So if anything comes up like this, you need to do this. Okay. So that's not really, I mean, for me, that's not really railroading. It's just giving me agency agency. Scripted. Yeah. And it's absolutely scripted.
Yeah.
Or is it like, I'm going to say this, you say this, I'm going to say this, you say this. Like, those are two levels of scripted.
There's nothing wrong with doing that. There's absolutely nothing wrong with doing it. It's not, you're not writing lines for the players. You're just giving cues. You're
but
like,
maybe.
Hey, this is when this happens. And DMs do that all the time. I do that all the time in my campaign. Mind you, it's not homebrew. It's an adventure module. So it's it's a whole module in a book, and there's like all these beats that we got to hit, and I set them up well in advance. I'm like, okay, remember when this happens, you've got to remember that. And it's like, and then I rely on, I'm like, okay. And then I say these things and they're like, oh yeah, we got to do that. And then blah, blah, blah. And then the players all go. So it's that kind of thing. We don't usually see this out of Critical Role. That's the difference, is that within this situation, this is a different situation because this was two separate tables coming together with two different DMs and 90% different cast.
Very different styles.
It's like you've got, it was only ever going to be this. So you had to bookend that. And the way that they did it is by telling the players, yeah, this is going to happen. 100% they all knew this was going to happen. 100% they knew Dorian was going to join, because 100% that they queued everybody for this. I think your theory about how it would have been very cool. I agree with you. It would have been really cool if Dorian had died, but I don't think that was ever going to happen. I think that it was just inevitable. It was not inevitable. It was written. They all agreed on it. They're like, yeah, Robbie's got obligations. He's a voice actor. He's got a job. He's got a full job. He's got obligations. He can't just take, if he's going to sit in for 10 more weeks with them, he can't just do that on a whim. He's got it. That's got to be planned.
You have to plan it out.
It's you can't do these things. A guest spot for a one shot or for one, come in, come out, no problem. You free next Thursday? Yes. Okay, done. Come in, done, gone. But this is going to be long term, so it was 100% planned.
Yeah,
it was.
Yeah.
There's no, you can't. There's no argument that would convince me otherwise.
Yeah, you couldn't convince me otherwise. The only thing that's a little bit up in the air is how much was discussed. You know,
I think, to be honest with you, I think all of it, all of it.
Yeah.
Maybe not the exact details, the specifics. Like at the beginning of after the break when Matt's describing how Keyleth's tone of voice changes.
Right.
In the up in the upstairs in the meeting. Of course that's not. But everything else, like, okay, Keyleth's gonna come down and she's gonna say something to you. Yeah. She's gonna go check in on Marquette. That's up to you if you'd like to join or not. Yeah. Otherwise, we'll find you a way to get to Marquette somehow.
Let's back up just a little bit there. Like when she was like, okay, you need lodging, and he's like, okay, so he gets all set up, and then Matthew said, like, you're always really good at picking up on cues. You know, you don't necessarily hear what they're saying, but you can pick up on the mood. And at that time, Keyleth comes back and she says, like, hey, so you can stay as long as you want, but I need to go. And then Dorian happened to say, business? I don't mean to pry. What kind of business? You know, and and as soon as I heard that, I was like, oh, Matthew, you're not hiding this very well.
Not hiding that. No, and it was in all honesty, they do themselves a disservice because if they're trying to hide it, this is a disservice to us because it's like it comes off as cringy because we know it's going to happen. Especially when you watch it. Like I think when you watch it the first time, you're like, oh, that's cute. Oh, that's neat. And then you watch it again, you're like, oh, that's super obvious.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I think we probably.
I'm not complaining. It's good. It's still fun to watch. I'm just like, don't. Maybe be a little bit more open and honest about this, about what's happening, and you just be like, yeah, okay, right. Like Keyleth comes down and goes, hey, you used to be with Oren and Fern. I'm going to see them. Do you want to come?
Yeah. See, that'd be a great way to do it.
That's the better way. It really is. Instead of trying to be ambiguous about it, it's.
Yeah, try to kind of like sneak that behind the curtains for big old fans like ourselves. It's like, dude, you're not going to get that past us.
No, not at all. What can you say about it? I don't want to come off as super negative, but all of these past two episodes have been handled very, very poorly by professionals. It's not quite like watching the Houston Astros steal signs or the New England Patriots manipulate footballs or send people over to videotape the other team's call signs, but it's close. It's watching professionals not cheat, but not play the game well.
Yeah, it's like watching your sibling wrestle in high school. And then all of a sudden they go professional wrestling just for one day, you know, and then they go back to regular. It's like, come on, man. That DDT wasn't real. The figure four, everybody knows how to reverse it.
Yeah.
It was.
Should we? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. And you know, like we hope that we're not coming off super negative. It's just like, it's not Critical Role, you know, and like nothing wrong with Abria's style, nothing wrong with people at that table. It's just not what we paid for, signed up for. And we're glad that we're back at the regular cast. I do wonder if Sam's, what's happening with Sam. Having him not at the table is a huge thing.
I maintain that we may not see him until campaign 4.
That's what I think too, dude. I mean, why would he come back? There's, I mean, unless, I don't know. I guess we'll just have to wait. We're part of the wait-and-see tribe.
I'm expecting him to come back, but I'm prepared for him not to.
The ad reads. I mean, the ad reads have been pretty good, but I'm pretty sure he's still getting paid to write them.
I think he's still doing them. I think he's just. In fact, I bet he's there.
Yeah,
I'm sure he comes in and he does the thing and then he just leaves.
He's back there with Danny watching the show on the fucking screen with the 10-second delay or whatever,
Yeah. Probably. Who knows? Or he might be on holiday. They were all in. They were actually all on holiday this weekend or last weekend. I'm not sure. Probably last weekend because they would have posted a week, but they were all at Burning Man. No. They posted on Instagram all kinds of fucking cool pictures. But that would have been delayed because they don't want people to know they're there.
Even though they tell people all the time.
Yeah. They were in pretty gnarly costumes. If I looked at them like I don't recognize any of them.
Well, man,
should we do a rollie just to say we did one?
I have 2 little rollies. That's all I got.
I'll do a rollie.
We're looking at 36 minutes right now, and like, dude, I mean, we don't have much to say until the next episode, other than what we already said for 30 minutes. But all right, let's do a little rollie. Get a couple of things out here.
3, 2, 1, go.
All right, with a 15, what you got?
I got a 15.
What? I'm rolling my other die. Rollies again.
Double rollies.
What? 5. What?
Dude, that's cool. Triple rollies.
I only have 2 D20s. I'm back to the
Roll
forge.
Them both. You get advantage.
All right. We both get advantage.
I don't have another dice here.
Oh, shit. All right. Roll your die twice.
I'll just roll twice.
All right. I'm going to roll this.
15 and a 16.
2 and a 17.
Oh, your 17 wins. Holy shit.
That's the longest rollies has ever gone across the screen in the history of this. Wow.
Whew. That was cool. Well done. That was neat.
That was fun. Oh, man. Okay. I'm going to start with the one that's a little bit more relevant. Who's the friend that Keyleth wants to save? Is she talking about Vax?
For sure.
Yeah? Just 100%?
For sure.
Okay, because I started thinking through. I'm like, wait, save him. Okay, so they can still hear him screaming in agony, right?
Yeah.
And which is brutal if you think about this. This entire fucking time, he's just in incredible agony. Yeah.
Well, it's doubly weird now too, because if Morrigan is the champion of the Raven Queen, where's that put Vax? It's weird, right? That's immediately the first thing I thought. I'm like, wait, what? Hang on, he's not dead yet.
It's dark. Gone. It's the darkest thing that's ever happened in the show, if that's the case. Or, I mean, if he's still being used for this fucking lens or whatever, this Malleus keyed lens or whatever the fuck. It's fucking terribly dark. And the fact that Keyleth is able to just like stand around and be like, we have time, we have to build up. Like, that's incredible resolve. Or maybe she knows something that he's not actually in agony this entire time, because it was blood-curdling screaming constant. Yeah. And if that's the amount of pain he's in,
we don't know. So
it's just, I mean, fuck. And it can't be anybody else, right? I mean, who else would it be? Like, we haven't heard anything about Grog. We don't know anything about...
No, we don't know anything about Grog at all. That's the one we haven't heard from yet. So, yeah.
And Scanlan... Did we hear anything about him?
Nope, nothing about Scanlan either.
Not really, right? Yeah,
I think a lot of speculation that Sam would come back as Scanlan online, but I don't think that's ever going to happen.
I don't think so. To be a level 20 bard with these level... That doesn't make any sense. Maybe as Kaylee, was that her name?
Yeah,
his daughter, perhaps.
The daughter,
but that also
not.
doesn't make much sense either.
Tyrion maybe is the other people are throwing out there, but nah.
But he's like level 18 now, maybe.
Who knows?
Who knows? Yeah. But also maybe he's lazy and he lost levels. You know, kind of like Bertrand Bell. What was I gonna say? I think he came up. Scanlan came up a little bit in a four-sided dive.
Yeah.
And there was just like a little speculation, like he probably went to Marquette and did the Meat Man thing again. You know?
Yeah, probably. Yeah. Or he died somewhere. Who knows? Like we had no clue. I mean, Matt could have killed off a couple of them easily. Grog and Scanlan both.
Yeah, I mean, frankly, Scanlan's powerful, but not that much of a fighter. I mean, that's part of his bio.
Yep.
Fighting is a distant third,
Mm-hmm.
Huh. Okay, yeah, so just across the board, totally vax. The fact that she said friend, I'm like, okay.
It's, yeah.
Maybe second guess it. All right, you got any ESN for that?
Not really. No, not for that one. I'll just do
any old.
My only real big point, honestly, for this whole thing is that how much Robbie has improved as a player.
Oh, really? What do you say?
The at the end of
I didn't notice.
very end. I got a timestamp for this one.
Hey, timestamp GIF.
At the end, or near the very end of the first half, 3 hours, 2 minutes, 5 seconds, as he watches Dariax go off to entertain that group, and then then he steals the resolve and snaps his fingers and vanishes.
Yeah.
That kind of role playing, for the camera, for the table, for the whole team, watching Matt sigh and drop his head, I was just
oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's so good, man. Do yourself a favor and go back and watch it. And you see Matt, I don't even think in character. I think actually as just Matt the player going.
Oh, that's right, because he's at the table at that point.
Yeah. You watch him, he's just like
on the other side. Yeah.
The look is like, fuck you, Robbie, but well played. That's a really good moment. That one struck me as a big one. And then the other one is when when they first meet up with Bell's Hells and Robbie's dealing with
heard you need a bard.
The whole when they have the big hug and the Orem does the leap and
the 20-foot leap,
they all come running in and all of that. The way Robbie handles all of that, fumbling all the things and receiving all the gifts and
this is terrible.
It's the whole way that he acts about that was just a next
Dorian.
level.
And it was Dorian.
I don't think he's fully understands how to play a level 13 bard yet, but the role playing was at a much higher level than it was before. So that's really what I noticed right away. Very good.
He's charisma based, right?
Yeah.
Like, what would
his
the
stats
stat
are weird
be there?
though. Like I was looking at his stat block, and it's it's 5th edition. I look at a stat block and I go immediately back to like 3.5 and Pathfinder, and I just look at it and I'm like, that's how I'm analyzing it. But 5th edition is really geared towards it doesn't really matter that much. So it doesn't really matter if you have high bonuses. You can still play an amazing game.
Right, sure. I mean, like looking at Ashton, like he still talks all the time, but he loses all of his fucking things. It's great. I love that about how Taliesin does this. Yep. And speaking of really good role play, I think Taliesin did a fantastic job this episode. Also, even as brief as it was that low charisma, just like
that awkward apology was spectacular.
Yeah. It was. I think he did a fantastic job.
It reminded me a lot of a conversation that could have happened on The Office as an apology. Like it was just cringy and awkward and slightly rude, but like well intended.
Anyway, so I'm sorry, but
yeah.
It's like thanks.
It could have happened in The Office. It was really, really good. I enjoyed that a lot.
Yeah. Also at the beginning of the second half, the interaction between Matthew and Robbie was quite good.
Real good.
Especially when he was being Keyleth. And I know it's kind of railroaded. That's a little hard to say after a couple of beers. When Robbie Dorian kind of didn't interrupt her, but very quickly responded with any armorers, and then Matthew's pause. Because I'm pretty sure there wasn't like a this is what you say, this is what you say. I'm pretty sure that was Robbie playing the part.
Totally.
And I'm not really sure what he wanted an armorer for, except for the fact that maybe he just saw this battle.
He did say he's got a bag that he did get some stuff. So I think they're going to sort of retcon some things that Robbie actually did, or Dorian actually did buy some stuff at Zephyrus. So they may retcon some things.
Right.
Well, I hope they do, because that's a good thing to do.
And it was so quick. And then, of course, we all trust Matthew, so he's playing a level 20 druid at this point. And then there was that pause, and then she was like, anything you need. Are you sure you don't know your path right now?
Yeah.
That was a perfect response to that quick armorer. She's like, okay, you're not telling me something, And of course it was obvious, and he said it very obvious way, but the way that Matthew handled it, just chef's kiss.
Real
chef's
good.
kiss.
That was my big. That's one of my comments right here, and I'll just yes and that. For whatever reason, one-on-one D&D is some of my favorite D&D.
Good point.
Really is. I made that note right away as soon as I was watching them when they came back from the break, and I'm like, oh, this could be good.
So much pressure, though.
A minute later, I'm like, well, this is really good. And then I sort of sat back and I put my pen in, because I watched it Friday without pen and paper, and I just sat back and I just fully enjoyed watching that one-on-one. One-on-one D&D can be some of the best D&D. It's so good. And they handled it like pros. It was so good.
As they are, yeah. When you watch that level and the potential, and it's kind of like when you go to an improv show or like open mic comedy. It's like, dude, this could be really bad, but just check it out, you know.
Yep.
And then if they really impress you, it's a fucking fantastic night. Otherwise, it's like, oh, I'm gonna have a cigarette, you know. But they were fantastic.
No, it's really good. Like you said, the never skipped a beat. They just worked through it perfectly. And I again, like I also did write down. It feels semi-scripted, railroad adjacent. Like those are the comments that I had when I watched it the second time. And it was a little bit because we, for reasons we explained before, but that doesn't take away from the actual there was authentic moments that were really good. So yeah.
We definitely don't think that FCG dying was scripted.
No.
That was just Sam making a decision.
Yep.
So we don't think that went back that far. Nope. So like, oh, we need to get Dorian back in this. No. We think that organically happened.
Totally.
And then but we also said that like we thought that maybe there was that theory that viewership is down, so something big needs to happen. Yep. So somebody might need to die. And that's what happened. But we don't think that was scripted at all.
No, I don't think so at all. No.
Yeah. Just to be clear.
Yes.
One more roll and then.
Sure. I don't.
Do you have anything?
But I can make something up.
I'll win then. Wait, where's my R? There it is.
4.
11. All right, works out. When did they meet Denise?
The split after the Malleus Key incident. When they split and some went to Wild Mountain, some went to Asilra. They were Denise was with the Asilra gang.
I love that you have this so quick. Yeah, because Denise is a. now I'm like kind of.
She was with Abria and
I thought she was like a secondary character.
Christian. Abria and Christian were with the Wildmount crew. With FCG and oh crap! Now I don't remember who it was because that was Frida.
Oh, Frida.
And
they still got to tell Frida what happened.
Their thing, and then Frida and FCG's thing, and then Denise.
Oh, that's right.
What's her name?
Emily. She was an ex of the guy in the chair. No, I'm mixing stories. Go ahead. Sorry.
Denise was with Dariax.
Right.
Yeah. But Denise. So Amy created Denise out of
improv.
Out of Dariax's story. Like she was like, oh yeah, I was looking for this. I'm looking for this dwarf. His name is Dariax, and blah blah blah. And that was the whole. She made up this character based on that was with Dariax at some point.
Right. Oh yeah, but she also showed up in Narrative Telephone.
Yes.
Where she had the New Jersey accent.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, because that was a strong name, but then when Laudna said, "Oh, we met somebody named Denise," I was like, "What? I missed that. What the fuck?"
No, you didn't. We talked about it. It's way back. Yeah.
Well, way back in the day, but like
way back.
When I heard the name again, I was like, I guess it's been so long since Dorian was around.
And then Matt's like, you begin to recall Dariax mentioned several times.
Because he is Dariax. I'm just putting that together now.
Yeah.
Matthew as the DM, who was Dariax. Okay. You seem to recall. It's like,
yes.
Do we? It's like, no. Here's the information.
Right.
Oh shit. All right. That's right. So back in the Snowlands is when that happened, eh? All right. That makes. I will.
Speaking of lore and things like that, I wrote this down in my phone notes, but I don't know exactly when it was. It was sometime during the first half, and it was one of the moments that I did watch. Is when it's near the beginning when Bria starts describing to Amy Opal that Loth is uploading all of the information about Predathos and the gods and the divine gate and the Ruidus and the moon and the lattice, and starts uploading all this information into Opal's brain. And I immediately looked at Matt, and Matt did one of these. Like he did what are you doing? Like it was a visible, noticeable reaction. And I started thinking, I'm like, that's interesting, because it's interesting on a bunch of like meta and above table and on table reasons. Like what does that actually mean for the cast? If how much does Abria know of the lore, and is she allowed to drop bombs like that to players that could then pass that on? And if the like are there I wonder how many rules there are. Matt shares some of his secrets, and then he's like, but you can't tell this to players. And then one of those, like Abria, goes, well, I can I'm gonna play with that and just give a little bit. And then Matt's like, wait a minute, I told you can't do that, because then that fucks up his plans for later down the road, and he has to change it. You know what I'm saying? Like
but it's her game, so fuck it.
There's right. So there's all kinds of ramifications there, and it got me thinking. I'm like, so if a player like way back in campaign 1, when Joe Mangelo when he comes in as he was a dragonborn. What was
Paladin motherfucker
of Yep. Anyway, he comes in.
The penultimate episode. Yep.
Yeah, he comes in, and he's got to know a bunch of stuff to be able to play at this table. So how much does Matt actually tell him? And then if another player comes in, a guest spot comes in, how much do they know? How much are they told about things? Like, do they know more? Do they know less? Is it like? It got me thinking about a whole bunch of stuff. Because now if Opal and Firarai are off with Loth, off doing whatever the fuck they're doing, I'm kind of thinking they're going to come back at some point as champions. That's right. So how much are they going to know? How much is Abria allowed to tell them? How much is Matt allowed to tell them? Because Loth knows fucking everything, and Abria's style of play is, I know I'm back on this again, but the Abria style of play is very much like just dump everything.
Yeah.
So
here's Stonky's ring. Fuck it.
Yeah.
It's like yo.
What are the rules there? You know what I'm saying? Like it just got me thinking a lot about what is what.
You happen to have a timestamp on that, or is that just?
I don't. I looked. I just, it was a moment when I was watching, and I was like, oh, what about this? It was near the beginning.
Oh, okay. That's right. I got to remember that Matthew was on that side of the table for it.
Yeah. He's Dariax on it.
That's right. It was very early in this episode because they were already in the battle, and like for some reason she just gets all this information.
Yeah, she gets an info, like an info dump, and it got me thinking about, well, wait a minute, what does that actually mean for the rest of the players?
And also, why the fuck would the champion get all that information? They don't need the information the gods have.
No, I think she asked the question because it's one of those things. I think she asked the question, is like, well, why would I even do that? Why would I want to kill these people? And he's like, okay, well, here's the reason why, because blah blah blah. And Amy didn't. I don't think Amy really understood what that reason was. I think that was an unfortunate, like. I don't want to get too deep into that just because there's no point in whatever.
Yeah. Well, man, I'm really looking forward to the next episode because like, dude, we got to think about Frida. You know, like they got to tell him, right? Not them. I don't remember their pronouns. We're not in California. It doesn't matter.
Nor do I.
Yeah, but it's also just so refreshing to get back to that table with these actors that we know and love. You know.
Yep. We'll get a four-sided dive tomorrow, and I think we'll get it. I don't know what's going to happen with it, but I will watch it, and I will. I don't know.
You know, it's going to be Abria.
I know.
Bob, Robbie.
Yep.
Maybe, I don't know if Amy would stoop to do something like that. She just seems so secondary or tertiary to the whole thing. You know, like I don't know if she would actually be like, wait, a secondary show. what does it pay? You know, like that kind of thing. Not too
So
much offense,
cynical.
Amy. We know you're watching, but
Who
yeah,
knows? They haven't announced it, so I have no idea. I just saw somebody say four-sided dive tomorrow, so I actually haven't even looked for it yet.
I'd like to see Sam on it, for fuck's sake. That'd be great to see
That's
his
not gonna
input,
happen.
you know?
Oh, it might happen. Who
I
knows?
mean, you know, it'd be nice because we all miss him, you know? So be like, hey, you know, of course Taliesin will be there. He's always there. Taliesin, you got to find some more hobbies, dude. Hey, dude, I'm all out of stuff. We're at 55 minutes. That's a good time to quit.
Yeah,
That's when we used to quit.
I'm good with that.
Man, like we just keep talking about stuff these days. Like
I'm looking up the programming schedule right now. May 6th. There it is. Four-sided dive.
Oh, do they list it?
Programming schedule of week. Yes, looks like they did. No, how come I can't click here? Check back here. Wait, but I want that. Oh, here we go.
Oh, tomorrow's my prep day too.
Dagger, there it is. Four-sided dive. Yeah, Abria, Amy, Liam, Matthew.
Amy's there. Huh. Liam and Matthew.
That might be all right.
Ooh.
I listen, man. I'm on board if Matt's there
Yeah.
because they'll ask him some questions.
A lot of times he bores me though. No offense, Matthew. Again, we know you're watching, but like he'll go into things and I'll be like, okay, that's good information. You have your world building and stuff like that, but then I'll be like, all right, well, this is just information now.
That's interesting. They're doing There's another thing, crafting a mystery with Liam O'Brien. The one and only Liam O'Brien discusses his creative process for how to run a mystery, how to collaborate with players, and how to incorporate the world of Candela Obscura using the illuminated world systems.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Let's see. Then the Daggerheart update. This is the second one. And then the four-sided dive, and then Midst, and then episode 94 on Friday. Thursday, but Friday for us.
You know what I've also noticed is in Critical Role's videos, they have, let's say I'm looking right now, they have analyzing Critical Role. There's some person with 67 views analyzing Critical Role. What else do we have here? Well, I'm not going to waste anybody's time. But there are other people who are sitting here doing exactly what we're doing right now.
Of course there are.
And they're putting their videos up on their channel. And very low viewership, however, but you know, it's kind of cool that they're doing that. So
maybe we should,
if we get on their radar,
submit a thing. Why not? Why am I so pink? God, I changed that background.
Yeah, there's another one, analyzing Critical Role, 44 views, but they're talking about the first campaign in this one, and it's 6.5 hours long. I wonder if it's like one of those watch the episode and talk over it, type of thing.
Yeah, maybe. I'm not down with that.
Yeah. But anyway, it must be someone that they know because she keeps showing up. Megaphone Man Zero. Well,
who knows?
I'm sure it's good if she's on their channel. It must be good. So hey, check it out if you haven't. Anyway, dude,
let's wrap this up. Yeah, time to go.
All right, cool. Nothing much to promote from me. My boys, my guitarists, are both playing here in Taichung at The Spot on Soho. They're both doing solo sets, but I'm going to be there with my girlfriend. I'm going to do some backup vocals. They'll probably play together a couple of times.
Cool.
Craig might be there to play a little bit of, or he'll probably just do some backups as well. But that's this Saturday. That's the 11th. If you happen to be in town or you just want to fly from like Las Vegas to Taichung for the weekend, you can't stay at my place. I'm a little busy. Other than that, nothing to promote. Follow this guy, Ben Greenspoon, at Ben Greenspoon on all socials. Follow me, drummatucka. I like to upload videos of my drumming. Every now and then just some random shit throughout life, but mostly some drumming stuff. Not that frequent, about once, maybe twice a week. But, if you want to keep up on what the hell I'm doing as far as not being idle, follow me on there. Just Instagram. I don't have anything else. I don't have a reason to have anything else. I mean, was it X now? And then there's Threads. I don't know what I've already got Instagram. I'm fine. But hey, dude, if nothing else, we got a four-sided dive tomorrow. We've got an episode on Friday.
Yep.
Stoked, man. I can't wait for these things.
Good week.
All right, cool. If nothing else, don't forget to love each other. And is it finally tomorrow and or Friday?
Word.
There you go. Peace. Love. Take care of yourselves. I gotta fix this mouse, man.
This mouse.